Hear me roar, you piece of shit.
No.
I'll punch you once right in the clit. There you go. Welcome, everyone, to the Nerd World Order podcast. This is Abel Loza, and joining me, as always, are my co-host and co-conspirator, CJ.
Hello.
Barker.
Good to be back.
And Andres is at some anime con this weekend. The NWO is where we're trying to take over the world by spreading the weekly pop culture news from across different genres, which include movies, comics, TV shows, or anything that we consider nerd. The Nerd World Order podcast, your greatest entertainment since 2017. All right, guys, welcome to show 125. Is somebody breathing on their phone right now?
Me?
Because it sounds like somebody's outside.
Oh, it's probably, hold on.
CJ's about to mount me. What was it?
Is that better?
That is better.
It's like fan.
Oh, yeah, that's what. Yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely, for sure. That shit sounded like poop. I'm sure it felt good, though.
It did.
Well, the sacrifices you have to do for the show. Yeah, I know. Is anybody drinking any booze?
No.
No. Are you?
Yeah, I'm drinking booze. I'm still trying to keep this tradition alive. I'm drinking Oberon Ale, American Wheat Ale.
It's actually a really good one.
It's good.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, give me one.
Okay, here you go. Wham Bam Malakazoo. Here's your brew. No,
That was
go
like
fuck glue. I don't know.
That was like the Dollar General version of like Alakazam.
Beepity beepity boop. What rhymes with what rhymes with shit?
Pit.
Fitbit.
Clit. If you can't do something with clit, Abel, that might be a problem.
Mosh pit.
Mosh pit. That's a really good one.
I'll come back to that later. All right, question of the show. We had 2 questions of the show last week.
We're really lucky that this is like free for people.
Why?
Like, you know what I mean? No one would pay for this. You kidding me?
No, I know, absolutely, yeah. Okay, guys, we're gonna hide this content behind a paywall. Nobody would pay for this.
And I wouldn't blame them.
No, I wouldn't blame a single person. Absolutely not. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Let's see. Oh, we had a question of the show. The first question of the show was, what do you think of They Live? It came back 50-50. For the most part on all platforms, so that stinks. And then the week before that, what did we talk about? Oh, if you're excited to see Henry Cavill back, and it was 75-25 in most places, so that's pretty interesting. So
That's fair.
yes, it is. It is very fair. All right, I think that's it. I think we're gonna get into 2 pretty big topics. So we'll go ahead and get into the Andres Loza Memorial Anime Minute. He couldn't join us this week, but no matter what happens with Andres, even though if he's not part of the show. You all right over there?
What?
You all right?
No, I'm done. Wait, what'd you say?
I was asking if you're all right.
Oh, no.
Sounded like a horse.
Yeah.
I am completely dead inside.
Well, most millennials are, I think.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm fine, I guess.
Okay. But where was I? Yeah, no matter how busy he gets or if he can't make the show, whatever the case might be, and there's always
if he's sewing his Sailor Moon cosplay costume.
Exactly. No matter what he's doing, he always has time for us, whether it's actually being on the show or giving us the hottest anime news of the week in his own segment that he has. So that's pretty cool. This week, he sent me an email concerning JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So let's see what he said. The Andres Loza Memorial Anime Minute. Many anime fans might not want or might not know that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was animated long before the arrival of David Productions' version, with Studio APPP producing a 6-episode OVA that told the story of Stardust Crusaders, and a recently resurfaced clip has gotten fans' attention thanks in part to the nefarious actions of the series antagonist Dio Breno. Dio, as fans of JoJo know, arrived in the first season of the franchise as the antagonist to Jonathan Joestar, but returned thanks to the vampire powers to trouble the future generations of Joestar in the third season of the anime. So there you go.
Sweet. Cool. Oh my gosh. What'd you say?
I got lost too.
Just know that this is very proud of his work.
I stopped listening at and on Andres' weekly segment thing or whatever you said. Sorry, Andres.
So
Is that not what we're supposed to do? I do.
So just immediately, like you just like
You know what's funny?
black out.
You know what's really funny? I haven't retained a single one of those in the history. Like I have no more anime knowledge.
You turn into like the parents from like Charlie Brown as soon as you say the Andres.
Wah, 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 wah.
I haven't retained a single thing in the history of this segment. It's awesome.
I don't think I have either, and I'm the one that puts it together.
That's awesome. That's a good segment.
The only thing I know for sure not to put on there are Dragon Ball Z things because he actually likes Dragon Ball Z, so there's no way I can get on that one. I make sure to go out of my way to put other things other than Dragon Ball Z.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Please continue to do that for us, Andres.
It's fantastic. All right, we do have a few pieces of news. We can go through them pretty quickly. This weekend, we talked about Comic-Con being online, but the options weren't necessarily known to people or what they were going to do because obviously everything got canceled this year. So actually, it's going to be free for everybody. You don't even have to sign up for anything. You don't have to pay. You can just log on and you're able to check out what it would be at Comic-Con. You're able to buy Comic-Con exclusive merchandise that they've already made and stuff like that. So July 22nd through the 26th, you're going to be able to log on and check out the different panels and stuff like that, which is pretty cool, I think. Like I said, it was never official. It was only rumor that this was going to happen. So I'm pretty excited. I'm definitely going to have to check it out and see what it's all about. It's not going to be the same, obviously, but it's cool that it's an online option.
Yeah.
That is really badass, actually. I wonder if it'll obviously it's not going to be as cool as like the real thing, right? Like,
yeah,
obvious. But it'll still be cool to just be part of it.
Yeah, I think so too. Which
we should all do, by the way.
And I guess it's a lot less spoilers.
Yeah, because usually they do some exclusive content like trailers or, the first 30 minutes of a movie or the first episode of a season. So I don't think if they do that, now we all get to enjoy it. I don't know if they will, but we'll see. And then it's still up in the air whether or not Marvel and DC and everybody's going to join because attached to that piece of news, DC just today announced that they're doing their own Comic-Con or whatever you want to call it. They're calling it the DC Fandom, and it'll also be online starting August 22nd for 24 full hours, and everybody can log in, no payment, no nothing. And there's just a couple of things that caught my eye. They're going to have a Scott Snyder panel. They're going to have a Flash panel, a Wonder Woman panel, because Wonder Woman, as we will talk about here in a second, was pushed again. But the most interesting one to me is Watchmen, the TV series, is going to have a panel there. So they don't know if it's going to be let's talk about season 1 or if they're going to announce a season 2. So I think out of all the panels that are going that are just strictly DC, that's the one that's most interesting to me.
I don't think a new season is very likely. So I would imagine it would be just number 1. But and I don't honestly want to be wrong. I think I'm happy with what it is. Do you want more?
I'm like 60-40 split, to be honest with you. 60% no, 40% yes. Just because the first season, and I guess this is where it falls into it not being able to live up to the hype, is it was so good that you would want to see something to come out of it. But at the same time, could it possibly ever live up to that first season? So it's 60-40 no, because we always roll on it on this show as far as like, don't spoon feed us the ending, don't whatever. And that's exactly what they did in Watchmen season 1 or the miniseries, whichever one. They didn't spoon feed us an ending or anything like that. And I love that. And for them to make a season 2 would just be a continuation of that story, which would kind of lessen the ending of season 1. So I don't know. But if they were to continue it, I would be interested to see how the world moves forward after, the death of.
Go fuck yourself if you haven't seen the movie. You son of a bitch.
Spoiler. After the death of Dr. Manhattan, all that stuff. So, it's interesting.
I don't think I want another one. The same way I wouldn't want another comic book of it. Like, I think what I do think would be cool actually, if they changed mediums again somehow.
Like a podcast story?
Maybe a cool video game or something. I don't know. But I kind of like this ongoing same me, or maybe a novel. I don't know. It's kind of cool though how they respect the medium. Like, okay, like we talked about. We're just basically gonna end up doing the fucking Watchmen show. But that guy, who wrote the Watchmen, what was his name?
Alan Moore.
Thank you. He was very upset that he clearly didn't want anybody to do a comic of his thing ever, and his world could only exist in comics, and so they moved it to television.
Well,
if they want to continue doing that, moving it, that'd be kind of cool. But.
To be fair, though, Alan Moore gets mad at every adaptation that they do of his comic books. Whether it's V for Vendetta, if it's Watchmen, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, even the animated movie, he had something to say from The Killing Joke. So he's just not a fan of.
That's not Watchmen specific.
Yeah, no, it's not Watchmen specific.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect the panel to be about?
I don't know. Honestly, if I think it was going to be about a season 2, I think they would have tried to keep it hush. But then again, you want people to tune into these things, even if it is a free online thing. So maybe you let them know, hey, Watchmen's going to be here, but it's only going to be season 1 talk, and then they drop a bomb that they're going to do a season 2. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. What I want is something that I'm still kind of coin flipping, kind of 60-40, but I don't know.
Well, regardless, it will be a cool panel to be part of. So
yeah, or maybe they're doing it for the to be topical. I mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago when we talked about what we're reading that I was going to go back and watch that first episode of Watchmen because the Tulsa massacres became such a trending topic on social media and stuff like that they didn't know about that event happening. So maybe they do the panel to talk about that specifically and how they got around it and why did he choose it and how it's relevant today, all that kind of different stuff. And just to bring it back to the forefront, I think that'd be a good idea. I think if I had to rank them, honestly, my 3 options are just talk about Tulsa, talking about season 1 in general, or not seeing a season 2. I think I'd want the Tulsa 1, season 2, and then just the season 1 recap last.
I'll probably flip the last 2, but generally I agree on the first one, certainly.
Yeah.
A lot. That was a turning. I knew about. Not the 2 on horn, but Toot. I knew about that situation a long time ago.
So did I. Not too long ago, but I didn't know about it to the detail that even the show was able to portray on TV.
But regardless, it's horrifying, and that for a couple of different reasons, obviously what it is. But that first episode was a lot of people's introduction to that.
Yeah.
Even that could be a thing. And I bet there are people out there who still don't know that really happened. They think it's just, part of the show probably. But no, really real thing. So yeah, just some historical perspective. I'd be even there for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
certainly.
For sure. Yeah, and Barker, you've been quiet this whole time. What do you think?
I was going to chime in.
Not just about Watchmen in general, but the DC thing in general, because you've kind of held back this little portion of the show.
I let you guys, kind of do your thing. I was going to just pipe in whenever I was ready. But to your Watchmen thing, yeah, I think what's going on right now with police and, just the racial insensitivity that's going on in America and everything, Watchmen kind of correlates with that. So I feel like if they do a panel, it'll be how Watchmen is kind of a allegory for what's going on around. I guess not really so an allegory, but you get what I mean. Probably not. I don't see a season 2. There's nothing that says that they're going to, unless they just pop it on us on the DC fandom. But I feel like they just need to go back and talk more about, police brutality and the racial divide in America right now. And I think the show does that a lot. So with the DC fandom, I think they're, trying to do their own thing. And as DC, they'll probably fuck it up. So.
I don't think so. It's kind of hard to fuck this up. They might fuck up, movies and stuff, but this is real easy to put together, I think.
You know how many times you make the point that they have every character in the history of characters and they still manage
to not get
shit in the pot.
It'll be like DC fan doom, like with a U.
Dum dum dum.
Of course,
shit the bed is what she said.
All right, so just real quick, I think we talked about this, so I don't understand why it's been big news in the nerd world lately. But Wonder Woman has been officially moved to October, but I thought we talked about that already. But yeah, it's officially
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's officially moved to October, and it was originally supposed to come out late August, which was actually supposed to come out last weekend, but now it is pushed back for a second time to October, probably for the benefit of the movie being, more having a wider release for a lot more people rather than, releasing it in August and people still not feel comfortable leaving their house. So,
yeah.
All I'm saying is fall 2020, we're going to have 2 of the most badass chick flicks ever.
We're also probably going to have one of those badass mutated viruses in the history of viruses.
You got Wonder Woman in October, and then you got Black Widow in November. So, pretty dope.
I'm happy to be the nihilist voice for this podcast. But I miss the movie theater so much.
So me too. I am super glad that they reopened the one here in town, and I even but they're showing like the only new quote unquote new movie they're showing I think is Bloodshot.
Yeah.
But they're showing a bunch of old movies. Like I think they were showing Shrek, they were showing Back to the Future, they were showing Ferris Bueller, so a bunch of old movies and stuff. And I went to their Facebook and I left a comment saying that I don't know how they which movies they have access to, but if they put The Thing up on the big screen, I'll go watch that like for that first day it comes out.
Oh shit, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I selfishly want to watch Infinity War, but yeah, I would totally go watch The Thing. That'd be awesome.
I want to watch a movie that I fucking love that I never got the chance to see on the big screen, obviously because The Thing came out before I was born. So I think that'd be really cool.
I'd go with you 6 feet away from you.
Oh, for sure. No, yeah. They had their PS5 reveal. I'm a big PlayStation guy, so I thought I'd talk about it a little bit. And we don't talk about video games enough on this podcast, and I think we should.
That's Andre's division. That's
Well, and then CJ's the resident gamer.
I'm giving it up. I'm retiring from gaming.
Sure you are. And then, so the big announcements is that they're releasing a Spider-Man Miles Morales game, which is in the same vein. I think even in the same universe as the Spider-Man game that came out last year. So they're going to do that, which is why they're able to release it so fast. Because if they were trying to do a brand new game, there's no way they can build an engine that quickly. And then Ratchet and Clank.
Really?
Games rarely build new engines. They use the same. People have been using Unreal forever. Like, new engines are pretty rare.
I feel like that Spider-Man game was like the way it was put. Anyway.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know enough about it, to be honest. But just new engines in general. New video game engines are really fucking hard. They take a long time.
Because you got to think like the Maddens and the Arkhams, they're just kind of copy and paste.
I feel like the Madden engine's been the same since like 04.
Oh, yeah.
Minus updated graphics.
Yeah, that's why I hate buying those sports games. You buy because you're just buying the same fucking game. You're spending $80 every year for
the same game.
4 different games for the same bullshit.
I saw a thing about it on Facebook. It's a Spider-Man thing where they're pointing at each other. It's like Madden 2011 all the way to Madden 2021. And they're all just pointing at each other.
Yeah, that's what I feel. Honestly, like what they should have done, like take 2020 for example. Like you release the Ultimate Edition 2020, and then from then on out, 21, 22, every consecutive year after, you sell a DL pack,
updated rosters,
an updated roster, updated uniforms, maybe an updated game mode, whatever the case might be. But
these fucks still go out and buy it. So why?
That's the first thing we need to do is stop Rage Against the Machine, literally and figuratively, and stop buying the games to show them like, hey, EA, that's how you become complacent. And a lot of people have actually stopped buying your game, but it's still the other percentage of people that still go buy that game every year that it's like, oh, I think we're going to make more money if you just release the same game over and over and over and over again.
Well, historically, they were correct. So,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it's dumb. Okay, the only time I've ever done that, I got into the Chiefs career mode on Madden 13, and I fucking I made a quarterback. He won the first 5 Super Bowls of his career, which is pretty cool actually. Pretty lifelike, really.
Lifelike.
Anyway, I gave them great success, everything. Then I went and bought 2014, and it felt like everything I accomplished was just completely undone.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
I paid $80 to ruin my NFL career. Like, it sucked. It was disappointing.
When I had my PlayStation, I was playing FIFA 2017 or 2018. And I built a career. I was playing in Europe and stuff like that. And when they took the PlayStation away, I'm like, fuck, man, I lost like another part of me. I feel like I achieved these goals that my player did. So yeah, it was I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I played with last FIFA. Well, the FIFA career mode I did was FIFA 11. I played with David Villa. He was the best player ever in the history of the universe.
David Villa in like 2010, 2011, 2012, those FIFAs, he was an absolute fucking badass.
I tore it up with David Villa. It was awesome, actually.
Him and those Barcelona teams are dope.
I didn't want to be Messi because the computer could play Messi better than I could play Messi.
Yeah, no, that's a good strategy.
I didn't want to fuck him up.
Yeah.
But I tore it up with David Villa. It was awesome. Oh, my God. That made me so happy.
Yeah, no, those Barcelona teams were fucking deadly. All right, last piece of news is actually there was a rumor going.
They used to have rules like on competitive play, no Barca.
I believe it.
Real.
I believe it.
Barca.
Those Barcelona teams from the early 2010s, those teams were deadly, man.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But the last piece of news is so everybody saw the Joker. Whether you liked it or not, that's a different show. But because of the success it had, anyways, financially, is they were thinking about making a Bane movie in that sort of style. But I think what's going to happen instead is they're going to put him in the Batman sequel. That's the second Batman with Robert Pattinson. So which one would you guys prefer to see? Kind of a solo Bane movie to tell his origin, or put him in the same movie as Batman?
Batman movie. Yeah. I gotta be honest, I don't like these kind of like, okay, even though I liked these movies, I don't like these like Venom. I don't like that it's not with Spider-Man. That's weird to me. I don't like it. And like Joker, it's weird without Batman, honestly. Like even though I do generally enjoy those movies, my larger principle doesn't. I don't know. I feel robbed.
You don't like the concept because
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like, I'm not the only one who thinks that. I would much rather see. It feels like you're missing out, like part of the story. Like, I don't know. I would prefer. Well, for actually, the real truth, honestly, answer is I want to make sure this first movie is a good one, but which we are not guaranteed of. But after that, yeah, I'd prefer that. Put Bane with Batman. That makes more sense.
I think I agree. And if you're gonna make a Joker style villain or a Joker style villain movie of another Batman villain, I don't think Bane is the next one. I think Bane does work better against Batman. Maybe you can do the Penguin, or who'd be a good one is Harvey Dent, because I feel like he has enough meat in his backstory where you could do something like that. But I think Bane is different. I think Bane, he needs to be the antagonist of Batman's protagonist. So I don't think a solo Joker style movie would work very well with Bane.
Harvey Dent's a good one.
I think a Riddler solo movie would be pretty cool.
I think Harvey Dent is perfect, actually, because you're taking literally a guy from the highest pedestal you can put someone and taking him all the way, bringing him all the way down. Like that's a hell of a journey. Like the Joker, I mean, the Joker really, before he was the Joker, was just a guy.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't really. Harvey Dent's right there in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean,
and,
he's a well-to-doer in Gotham City.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's an interesting story, actually. But again, I don't think I think I prefer it with some Batman context. That's just me, though, I guess.
Well, I mean, the Joker had a little bit of context to it.
Not really. Like he fucks with Bruce Wayne when he's a little kid or something. I don't know.
I mean, that's all you really need without actually putting him, in the cowl.
He wasn't, but he's not Batman. He's just Bruce Wayne at that point. And he's like 7 years old. It's not the same. Yeah, put him with Batman.
Okay,
And honestly, it wouldn't upset me if they never did a Joker-like movie ever again, to be honest with you.
I want to see what they can do.
I think the $1 billion, the first rated R movie ever made, I think that's going to dictate rather than like, oh, you know what? DJ from Kansas, he said he didn't want it. You're right. We're not going to make another one.
Well, they're counting their millions. Like, oh, man, they didn't like our movie. What should we do?
As they put money in the counting machine.
No, the fucked up part is I did like it.
Eating sushi off a Chinese hooker. Like, oh, man, I don't think we should do this.
No, doing blow like they did in Wolf of Wall Street where he puts a straw in the hooker's asshole. Oh, CJ. Oh, you're right.
If they invite me to their party, I'll change my mind.
You heard that first. You heard that here first, Warner Brothers. Invite us to your cocaine party, and maybe we'll allow you to make this movie.
We'll go down our blessing.
Yeah.
If I get invited to a Warner Brothers cocaine party, I will never talk shit on DC ever again. I'll be the loudest fucking spokesman.
We just become a DC shill podcast. Is it Warner Brothers so great? Yeah, guys. Oh my god.
Dude, I am for sale, and the price isn't that high. You can totally buy me.
Absolutely, I'm for sale. Disney, Warner Brothers. There's no more Fox, New Line, whoever. Yeah. Fucking get out.
It's one giant cocaine party.
We have a price tag, and it's not that high.
No,
Fuck really it. Isn't. Quibi, if you want to throw some money this way. I know y'all are floundering right now, so.
Yo, they got Reno 911 on there.
Yeah, so. They got new episodes, but
yeah,
they were expecting 7 million subscribers so far, paying subscribers, and I think they're only up to 2 million. So they're not doing very well. They raised $2 billion to be able to finance the first 3 years of Quibi. They've run through that money in the first three quarters of the first year.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so they're not doing very well.
Damn it.
Alrighty.
Well, they probably can't afford to bring us to a hooker cocaine party.
Yeah, no, they really can't. Here you guys have some pixie dust and some Pepsi. Here you go.
No, it's not even Pepsi. It's Diet Right.
No, RC Cola.
Yeah.
RC
Jesus.
Cola and the Great Value brand Pixie Dust. When the world is in chaos, Florida says, "You call that chaos? That's a Tuesday." Florida man bitten in the face by alligator while playing disc golf.
Nice. He just kept playing disc golf.
Oh, I'm sure. He's like, "This is the best round of my life."
He did like Chubb did in Happy Gilmore.
There you go.
Try to get the ball and everything.
Alrighty, so the first part of the main event is Justice League Dark. We are back on it after having a couple iffy weeks of off and on and stuff, but we're back on schedule. The next movie that we're talking about, Barker.
Yeah, I show my pride. I don't know about you guys.
For those who can't see, which is literally everybody else, Barker just took off his jacket, his pullover.
And am showing.
Your NWO shirt.
There you go.
But yeah, so we're back on it this week. It's Justice League Dark. CJ and I, like a year and a half ago, we decided, or we thought it would be a good idea to kind of run through all the movies of the DC.
You're right.
Huh?
We were right. It's a really good idea.
Yeah, it was a really good idea. Unfortunately, we didn't take off with it that first time around. Second time around, when we found out that actually they're bringing this universe to a close, we decided, hey, we should now do this. So we're about halfway done. We are in movie 8 of 15, which is debatable, and I'll bring it up with you guys later and see what we want to do. There's a couple of things that were released that technically aren't part of the official lineup, but they are in the continuity, if that makes sense.
That doesn't, but you will explain it very well, I'm sure.
Yeah. So,
Pretty
anyways,
elegant like that.
but if we say no, we're 8 through 15, which is more than halfway through. And like I said, yeah. So this week, Justice League Dark. This is directed by Jay Oliva, which is his 5th movie of the universe so far of the 8, but it is his last one. So he went front heavy and didn't direct anything on the back end. Unlike all the other DC animated movies that we've seen so far, which all had some sort of little connections here or there, or just a lifted plot line altogether. This is a brand new original story for the DC animated universe. The only thing that they got from the comics was the idea of Justice League Dark, and even then, they kind of did some tweaks to it because in the comics, Batman, although he might have done a cameo here and there, he wasn't part of the team, where here he was part of the Justice League Dark. It was originally released January 24th of 2017, digitally, DVD, February 7th, 2017, starring Jason O'Mara as Bruce Wayne, Batman, Jerry O'Connell as Superman, Kal-El, Rosario Dawson as Wonder Woman, Diana Prince, Matt Ryan, John Constantine. Which, interesting note, he is who played John Constantine in the short-lived John Constantine show, and is the John Constantine who is on Legends of Tomorrow. So if anybody knows the role, it's Matt Ryan. He's done it live action, and voice animated. So that's pretty cool. And people are actually pushing for him to be the John Constantine when they do the live action Justice League Dark on HBO Max. So he definitely has that role, hands down. The only other one of note that I will say is Destiny. The main bad guy at the end was voiced by Alfred Molina, better known of Geek. Well, he's done a bunch of stuff. I think he's even won an Oscar. But in the geek sphere, he's better known as Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, and he did the voice for Destiny. So
He was Satan on Rick and Morty.
he was Satan in Rick and Morty. You're absolutely right. This movie grossed $3.1 million, which isn't too bad for an animated movie. It's not too bad. It still does rank towards the bottom of the DC universe, however. So, but while I gave the specs of that, CJ, what is a quick emphasis on quick synopsis on Justice League Dark?
Go fuck yourself if you haven't seen the movie. You son of a bitch.
Emphasis on quick. I'm not so good at that. Okay, so a lady got in a car wreck, and she threatened the entire neighborhood that her dad was going to sue them.
Her name was Karen, by the way.
Her name was Karen. Pretty much, we had a circus sideshow stripper, sniper, I meant to say. It was a great shot. Like, that shot is fucking, dude. It's like American, like Bradley Cooper made a guest appearance. It's like American Sniper. Anyway, there was a tornado. Batman stood there uselessly, which was awesome. A cancerous hippie with a ponytail committed very serious copyright infringement. He said, "I feel a disturbance in the force." How is he not?
You're absolutely right.
How are they not sued for that? They probably were. Like, I felt the lawyer. Like, I could feel. How do you not feel the lawyer force after that? Like,
The lawyer, the boner from the lawyers right there.
Yeah, there's a disturbance in the contract. Merlin hit his cane on the ground, said a bunch of stuff. I wrote one. To the excitement of many nerds, a cool guy rhymed some words. And then a guy rode around in a big force field thingy, and hijinks ensued.
Nice. I do love Etrigan. I feel like Etrigan
Dude,
is...
that guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that guy. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Hear me roar, you piece of shit.
So,
I'll punch you once right in the clit. There you go.
nice. That's what you're doing there?
That was god awful. So bad.
It's pretty bad. But A for effort.
I'll think of another one when we're talking about it. So around the horn. What?
Clit was needed there. You did good with that, actually.
Yeah. So around the horn, Barker, what did you think of Justice League Dark?
This is a great, different team-up movie. I kind of liked how it got more into the mystic arts, different characters that you really don't see too much, in different medias. I did like, how they kind of put a Arthurian kind of history behind it. And, of course, there's Batman. So,
CJ.
This movie's fucking fantastic.
Oh, thank God.
I love this movie. Yeah, it's awesome. This movie's awesome.
Okay, yeah, that makes it 3 for 3. And I said thank God because I was like, oh, one of the other two guys are gonna like it. No, I absolutely fucking love this movie. I get a huge boner for like the occult and paranormal stuff. So this movie's definitely right up my alley, and I really, really fucking enjoyed this movie. Really, it's the shortest one so far, though. I think it was only an hour 15, which sucks.
They pack a lot of shit in that.
It did. It was very fast paced. There wasn't any really lingering time. It's like, oh shit, we start the movie with people, with that lady running over people, and then it's like boom, Constantine, boom, Satana, boom, Dead Man. It's just like constant movement and action. So I really appreciate it.
I feel like the only time that it kind of, I don't mean drag as in like bad, but the only time it really dragged was the exposition behind Etrigan and like his history.
Yeah.
But even then, that was like super quick.
I think so too.
I hope that this pacing, because I think we both agree the animated universe is wonderful at pacing. Generally,
Yeah.
They've had a couple misses, but generally speaking, they excel at that. And I hope that's not Jay Olivia's doing. We're going to find out within the coming weeks, but I hope that doesn't go away with his going away.
Yeah, I agree. I guess it is going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on as other directors switch in and out. Now that the guy that directed the most up to this point is out, so what's something that comes to mind that you guys particularly liked about Justice League Dark?
Well, the fact that you said this is a complete original story. What was the other original story? It's Teen Titans, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
I think, yeah. That was a complete original story, right?
Yeah.
This is like, dude, it's like day and night as
Yeah.
far as like in terms of like just how much there is to like take in. It felt the Teen Titans movie felt really empty. Like there just wasn't much there, to be honest. This thing, the Justice League Dark there's something everywhere you look. There's something cool to see, and that's fucking awesome. I'm genuinely shocked that they wrote a story this compelling and with this much going on all by themselves. To be honest with you, and it's pretty cool. I'm pretty ecstatic about it.
Yeah. Which actually, I bought the DVD already. It's sitting. I'm looking at it right here for the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. So we're gonna get these characters again for the end cap for the dessert at the cherry on top of everything. So that makes me really excited to watch that movie. And I'm holding off because I want to see that movie after seeing all of them first, and then watching with some fresh eyes. But okay, Barker, what's something that you particularly liked about the movie?
There's two things, and I'll make them pretty fast. The first one, even though like it's not really an origin story, they kind of did like a lot of like cues to like Zatanna and John Constantine's kind of like relationship, Deadman and Swamp Thing, and all that. So that's actually pretty cool. And so if it kind of rolls into Apocalypse War, I think that'd be really cool too. It just depends on how long they have. Number two, Batman is one of my favorite superheroes of all time until I watched this movie, because John Constantine is a fucking badass. That guy is just, he's cocky as fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. And he's like one of the like most powerful wizards you can ever fucking meet. And like, he just doesn't give a fuck, and I love it. And he just has a quip like right there, like without hesitation. God damn it.
I fucking love John Constantine. He's definitely been one of my favorite characters since I saw the Keanu Reeves movie back in the day. But the true Constantine, no matter what you think of the one that was in the Keanu Reeves movie, the one that they portrayed here in the animated movie is like spot on to the John Constantine you get in the comics. Like even in the comics, he tends to be more out there sometimes, and definitely a lot more I don't give a shit kind of thing. And yeah, John Constantine has always been one of my favorite characters, and he's a G in this. I like it.
Well, and I think maybe that's to Matt Ryan's forte. Like you said, he's been in other variations of it. So maybe just him being John Constantine is what put him over the top.
Yeah,
which kudos
for sure.
His name's Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's not that Matt Ryan, right?
No. It's the better Matt Ryan.
It goes this Matt Ryan like down the street that like sells bananas, and then like number 58 is Matt Ryan.
It's the talented Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that didn't blow a 20-3 lead. Yeah.
Ooh, shots fired.
Shots fired. No question.
We just lost our Atlanta viewers.
Yeah.
They're busy.
Yeah, they're a little busy right now with the more important stuff. Let's see. What I really liked about this movie is not only is it called Justice League Dark because technically it deals with the supernatural and ghosts and ghouls and shit like that, but it's fucking dark. It's dark. In the first 5 minutes of that movie, they're showing the guy who killed his neighbors, and then they just open up the garage or whatever, and they're just hanging there. And I'm like, holy shit, I forgot about that part. And that caught me by surprise. And they're just like, there's a bunch of parts in this movie that are like that caught me by surprise. And
trying to murder a baby.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're dealing with demons and stuff like that, like obviously that's the theme, but it's kind of surprising still to see it in animated form in the West. A lot of anime and stuff like they do that shit like on the reg, but in Western animation it's not really a thing. So yeah, it's definitely it was an eye catcher, and I really really dig it. So and I guess
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just to expand on it a little bit, and it's just the idea that DC has such a rich history in the supernatural that they were able to touch it, even if it was just a little bit, in the animated universe is well worth the hour and 20 minutes or whatever that I spent watching the movie.
Yeah.
I think the
They're,
guy at the end go ahead.
I think this is probably the most blood that's been in one of these.
Yeah, for sure.
Like gory and so is this rated TVMA or something?
Yeah, it's rated R. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. This is probably the darkest one, which is fucking awesome. This is the darkest movie we've seen out of this thing so far.
Well, yeah, like
Right?
when they drag that guy like down to hell and he's like screaming like bloody murder. It's just like, damn, that shit just got real.
Yeah, that's badass. I'm glad they had the balls to make this movie. Really.
Yeah, same. I completely agree. They could have kept the status quo and just steal, whatever Batman story and just adapt it, but they decided to go a completely different route because it's not even within the same track that they laid with the previous movies. They went complete 180 and they told the story of a supernatural in the DC universe. With a bunch of awesome characters. Like we already talked about how cool Constantine is and how cool Etrigan is. But Swamp Thing, obviously, my love for Swamp Thing's been mentioned on the show before. Zatanna, always an underrated character.
Yeah, she was awesome in the movie.
Yeah, she's super awesome in this. Deadman is always super cool in the comic books. So yeah, just to be able to bring, to bring those characters to life in an animated
who the worst character in this movie was?
What?
Batman.
Yeah.
He's the worst character in this movie. Which is funny. It was so fun, dude. Can we do another? How about we do another round of things we liked?
All right, let's do another round of things we liked. Yeah, I agree.
I have like a bunch actually. I have two actually. I want to just rattle off. Batman standing around uselessly is so funny. That it never happens. And like when they're going to that dude's head or whatever, he's just like standing there like, okay, cool. Like he's so not used to being useless. He just doesn't know what to do.
Well, because even Constantine mentions that he's like, your little pea shooter doesn't work around here, and then he uses it to save him, and he's like, oh, actually, that's pretty cool or whatever. And this is the first time I can ever think of whether comic book form, movie form, animated form, where Batman is like the least useful character. He's like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, that's awesome.
Honestly,
that's a cool line to play in.
Honestly, though, I think the reason they did it, though, is kind of a warming or like dipping your toes into this world, because I think it would have been super abrupt if you didn't introduce any of the Justice League characters, right? And then just kind of do this. But now that you're following Batman on this adventure with everybody else, it's an easier transition to do that.
This keeps it grounded a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
but it's better that way because it has that comedy that I think is funny. It benefits from it in a lot of ways.
Dude, the comedy behind this movie was the best. Like when the ghosts are like looking at Batman and just out of nowhere he goes, boo. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
I think they should have
And then at the end when Etrigan was rhyming and Constantine's just like, stop with the rhyming and fucking attack him.
Yeah. This movie was, I wrote it here in my notes, definitely the funniest one so far that we've seen.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the characters because Constantine is generally a one-liner guy in the comic books. Batman, when put out of his element like that, really shines because you can kind of see that he does have a sense of humor, and I really like that about when Batman's kind of in a different atmosphere.
It was just really cool to see like Batman through kind of like fresh eyes. It's just cool, and I love that they had like. He didn't know what to do until he had something to fight. Like he was almost relieved there was a giant shit monster. He's just like, finally, fuck, I can do something.
Which in my notes, I'm like, oh my god, they actually did a shit monster. LOL, Dogma.
that's just what I thought, Dogma. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny. I couldn't believe. I was like, no way. When the toilet was going around, I'm like, are they really gonna do a shit monster? Wow, they're really gonna do a shit monster.
They really did a shit monster.
All right,
that's fucking awesome.
What's the second thing you wanted to talk about?
They're the Matrix like techno music at the climax, like the action part.
Oh yeah,
that was fucking cool.
Yeah,
that was dope. I was like, yeah, that's a cool touch. I don't know, it just hit me like, I don't know, it made it better. I like the idea of like cool ass techno music, and I think that started for me in the Matrix, but whatever. Like during action sequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. It just added a cool touch for me. But yeah, I don't know. I could go on. I could go keep going. Like, there's a lot of things I love about this movie.
Barker,
but-
do you have another round of something you liked?
I think CJ kind of touched on all of it. I thought it was. I mean, just everything in this movie was really good. Except for one glaring thing that we'll talk about here in a sec.
Okay. Let me see if I have something particularly. We talked about Batman. I can cross that off. Why is Merlin in everything that has to do with magic? I just don't get it. Like everything.
Dude, he's a magic man.
He's magic. He's like the first magic. I don't know.
Is Merlin the first magic? Poll question.
He's the Jerry West of magic, you know.
He's on the Magic logo, like the Magic League. He's the logo. Merlin's the logo, baby.
Yeah.
I did put here. I'm super glad that the Justice League Dark team with Batman. But they're the ones that figured it out, and it wasn't like a Batman thing. They're the ones that kind of put the work into it as well. I really dug that.
It's. I mean, we touched on it already, but to introduce that many characters, that's like 8 new characters,
Yeah.
and to have them that fleshed out in an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This movie has pulled off like an incredible fucking feat.
Yeah.
Like, against all odds, like it's impressive. Actually.
I am telling you, that's why my hot take of fuck this origin story bullshit that Marvel perfected with this universe. If DC can just start over and just say, here's our first movie in the universe is Justice League. You guys know these characters, boom. And then from there, that's your trunk of your tree, and that's how you build your universe. But that's neither here nor there. So
they've got a fucking roadmap on how to do it. Just watch this movie.
yeah, exactly. And you're absolutely right with an hour 15. Can you imagine what they can do with 2.5 hours?
Yeah. I would love to see a feature film, J. Olivia feature-length film. Like, I'd love to see him do a sequel to this, actually.
Well, we're going to get to see it. But not his. You're right, but not his. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That does concern me for the future of this franchise here, but that's great.
All right, Barker, since you really have the only thing off the top of my mind anyways, that you had a glaring problem with, what is something you didn't like?
Swamp Thing.
Really?
Guy was a bitch.
Really?
You know who I think could beat his ass? J.J. Watt.
Nightwing.
Nightwing cannot beat his ass.
Apparently, all you have to do is pull the corpse out of his body, which isn't really that. I mean, I feel like Nightwing could do that.
Nightwing could not do that.
Well, I mean, a guy in a bubble did it. So
a guy that's the most superpowered magic being in all of eternity is the only one that can ever do that.
A guy in a pink bubble. So
I just had to bust your toe, baby.
I didn't have an issue with Swamp Thing. I think that he was the most powerful character up to that point.
Did a whole bunch with it too. Yeah. And I actually like Swamp Thing. I'm just being a piece of
I mean, yeah, I think they did his character good. I just had to fuck with you.
All right. Anything else that you guys can think of?
No, not really. I didn't like the Faust guy.
Well, he was there more of a red herring kind of thing.
Wait, what guy didn't you like?
What's his name?
Felix Faust.
Felix Faust.
I fucking love that guy. You serious? You didn't like that part? That was the best part of the movie.
No, it was a great part, but I didn't really partake to him. But then again, he wasn't supposed to be the bad guy of the
No, I thought he did it perfectly because he gives you in-game villain vibes while not being the in-game villain like that. Like, he played the part. Like, I'm not saying the voice acting. I'm saying the character played the part of making you think that very well. Like, I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed that, actually. There's nothing.
I didn't hate it. It was just how maybe it was just the voice acting behind it, but yeah, it just didn't sound like a villain.
I loved it because he was kind of like playful with them a little bit. Like it wasn't too serious, but there was still a lot going on. Like he was actively trying to kill them, like, but it wasn't like serious. It had like it didn't have like serious tones behind it. I guess he was just really playful, but while being super deadly at the same time. That was really cool to pull off. Like,
it was just kind of like he wasn't like trying to take over the world. He was just trying to pay his like parking ticket.
Yeah, just trying to like fuck with people. I love that. That was awesome. Might be my favorite part of the whole movie, actually. Probably.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite. Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite part in this movie. I guess if I had to pick it, it's probably that opening, because I haven't seen this movie in a few years, and just that opening was pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Pretty crazy, yeah. You know what? I couldn't find a flaw in this movie if you made me.
Yeah, same.
I've been thinking about what it would be, and I can't find one.
Right.
Exactly. I really enjoyed this movie. So I think we're just doing formalities now, but let's rate it real quick.
Kitty titties.
I'm giving it very, very, very high titties.
I'm giving it also the kitty's titties, and as far as ranking them, it's my favorite by far.
Yeah, it's number one for me. Yeah. It overtakes War, which is crazy. I love that movie. This is number one.
This is number 2 on mine, only behind Bad Blood.
Okay. So you guys check out Justice League Dark. Oh, the only other thing I have before we move on is that this makes me super excited for the TV series that they're making.
Yeah.
They're making a TV series?
Yeah, on HBO Max that we've talked about a couple times.
Oh, cool. Sweet. Yay. Good job.
Right. Hey, CJ.
Yeah.
Do you love the NWO?
Yeah.
Do you like supporting things you love by giving them an amount of money so small that you wouldn't notice or feel leaving your bank account?
Yeah.
Then you'd be perfect to donate to the NWO cause, which will help us create more content and become a better podcast. Is that something you like to do?
Yeah.
Then visit us on patreon.com/NoRuledOrder and give us a monthly donation to help us out. Or if you want, give us a one-time donation. Please go to our PayPal at NoRuledOrder2@gmail.com.
Yeah?
Yeah, and remember folks, obey the NWO.
Yeah.
So, we are now going to transition. Barker can sit around in the background if he wants. If you ever have your 2 cents, you can chime in if you'd like, Barker. But me and CJ, what we decided to do is undertake this huge, not that big, but pretty big.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big to kind of take this task and kind of talk about it a little bit. And that is to kind of review and remember whatever you want to call it, the seminal revisit. There you go. Review, reminisce, revisit. There you go. The seminal, and I don't mean that lightly, the seminal trilogy that is the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. Before we get into it, here's a couple details on the movie. The first one was released December 10th of 2001, which was Fellowship of the Rings. The Two Towers was released December 5th of 2002, and The Return of the King was released December 1st of 2003. Do you remember seeing any of these movies in the movie theater, CJ?
No, I don't think I did. No.
I saw The Two Towers and Return of the King in the movie theaters.
I actually don't remember. I wish I had more recollection about like hype leading up to the sequels. Like, because I don't remember how I watched these the first time. They're so ingrained that I don't remember how they came to be. I don't know. I don't remember.
I remember the first one for sure. We rented it on, I couldn't even tell you if it was still VHS or not. I'm sure it still was. 2002, maybe? Or maybe that was early DVD.
Either way. No, I don't think I watched them in theaters. I don't think so. It's probably would have been a fucking spectacle. Like,
oh, for sure. Well, and not only that, but unbeknownst to me, when during these movies, like I knew they were based on a book, but I didn't know that. Really, it took me a couple years after these movies were released to kind of encompass the cult behind the J.R.R. Tolkien kind of world and universe where people absolutely love the books, and I could see how people were scared of this movie adaptation, but and this is somebody that hasn't read the books, but I couldn't imagine. They have too many things you can pick at that you would be disappointed because like these not only are the books considered a seminal writing, but these movies are considered like, they'll be remembered like Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments and movies like that from the 1930s and 40s as like this epic movie that they kind of don't do anymore. So it's when I say seminal, I'll probably say it a couple more times, but I legitimately mean like there was before Lord of the Rings and then there was after Lord of the Rings. Like those 3 years were very
Lord of the Rings.
It changed the movie industry.
Lord of the Rings is a pillar. Like it just is in the book form too. It's when people talk, you don't talk about fantasy world building without mentioning J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
he's a pillar. It's like this fantasy world building in that way wasn't done until he did it.
Yeah,
and so many things borrow from his ideas now, like all those things about like. Every like D&D borrowed so much from Lord of the Rings with elves, dwarves, all that. And a lot of nerd culture borrows heavily from that stuff. He was the one to introduce those kinds of things.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Where there's a world with like 6 different races of like creatures and more than that, but like in this one it's like 5 or 6. And not only that, but the stereotypes that fall with fantasy, whether good or bad, start at the very beginning, which is J.R.R. Tolkien, which is like the fairies in this like enchanted forest, and then you have your dwarves and all that stuff. Yeah, it started at the very beginning, and The Hobbit was written in 1937, I think. So I mean, it's been
a huge portion of our entire nerd culture owes damn near everything to J.R.R. Tolkien. Honestly.
Yeah. We both had the issues for 3 letters. It's hard to say.
Yeah, maybe we should just say Tolkien.
Yeah, Tolkien. There we go.
So I actually have a little insight. Do you know why he wrote the books in the first place?
No, I do not.
Kind of interesting. So he spent a lot of his childhood inventing new languages. He was an inventor of languages, and this story is just a vehicle for the languages.
Really?
That's it. Yeah, he just wanted a way to express his languages, and he thought, this one could be for elves, this one could be for dwarves, and then Lord of the Rings was born.
Huh.
Pretty cool.
It is really cool. I didn't know that.
He invented like something like 60 languages in his life or something like that.
Really?
Some crazy number. Yeah.
I didn't know
Pretty badass, huh?
That is really badass, actually.
Yeah.
Like he created this entire genre of writing and movie making and stuff like that just because he was trying to create different languages.
Just because he's that nerdy kid in class inventing languages while everyone was learning about, Bunsen burners and shit. Yeah, he was just in the back writing.
That's
badass.
That is fucking awesome. Yeah. Let's see.
You've never read the books?
I've never read them. Have you read them?
I have read The Hobbit. It's really good. But I've tried to read The Fellowship like 9 times, and I could never get past the beginning because it's such a slow start.
Yeah, I was watching a video actually before we logged on about the differences in at least The Fellowship of the Ring, and they say that the prologue in the movie, they give you history of the ring and all that stuff. Well, I guess the prologue in the book is a history of the hobbits. And they tell you like lineage and stuff like that, which could probably be a little tough to get through.
I've tried I'm not even joking, probably about 10 times to read it, and
We'll check this out. Watch. I got these at a garage sale. I don't know if you can.
Oh shit! Is that all three?
All four.
Oh, four. Yeah. Like I said, I read The Hobbit. The Hobbit's a good book. It starts fast. It's pretty good.
So yeah, I'm
Maybe I'll try 11 times.
on the 11th try. 11th try is your lucky try.
Yeah.
But it's in line with all the other books I have to finish. But yeah, I'll eventually get to it. Let's see. Budget for all three movies put together, the budget was $281 million to make all three movies. And the box office return for all three combined, $2.9 billion. So it's one of the most successful movie franchises of all time. And let's see, the movie individually that grossed the most money was The Return of the King. Worldwide, it made $1 billion on its own. So that's cool. But besides being critically acclaimed and fan loved, the Lord of the Rings franchise also really killed it at the Oscars. It was nominated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 10, 11 times for the Fellowship of the Ring. It won 4. It won 2 for the Two Towers. And unprecedentedly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All 11 nominations that they were nominated for in 2004 at the 76 Academy Awards. They won every single one. They swept, like legit won every award they were nominated for. Best Picture, Best Director, Adapted Screenplay, Art Direction, Costume Design, Film Editing, Makeup, Original Score, Original Song, Sound Mixing, Visual Effects, all won by the Return of the King. So,
And it fucking deserves every single one of them.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Actually, and the only person to ever be nominated for a standalone acting award is Viggo Mortensen in the very first movie, and that's it.
Wow. Damn near every person in that film could that could have been anybody in that film
Yeah.
for acting. I mean, Mortensen particularly, but they all could have been. Orlando Bloom is fucking like
Come
Ian
on.
McClellan, like they're all
Yeah.
amazing. There's no bad acting in any of these movies.
There really isn't. Just a couple other things. Do you know who was originally given the role of Gandalf but turned it down?
Tim Curry.
No.
Steve Park Snaps. I don't know.
No. Sean Connery.
Oh.
Oh, he wouldn't have been nearly as good.
Oh, for sure. He was going to be the most paid or the highest paid actor of all time if he took that, because not only was he getting his contract, but he was going to get 15% of all box office returns, and that would have made him the highest paid actor of all time.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have done as good.
Well, no. Well, regardless, I don't think so either. I don't think you can think of Gandalf and think of anybody else than Ian McKellen. But yeah, it was originally offered to him. Like, he didn't have to audition or anything. Like, it's like, hey, if you want it, it's yours. And he said he didn't get it, so he didn't take it.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it. I'm glad. We're probably. I mean, this is no slight on Sean Connery. It's just not his. I'm surprised to hear that it's not his type of thing. Like, yeah, I couldn't even see him in this role. That's weird.
There's a long list actually of movies that he turned down that ended up being iconic roles. So if he would have taken at least like 75% of the roles that were offered to him, he would have been like predominantly every role that we're accustomed to loving and stuff like that. There's an entire list out there. I just don't remember who, but one of them is Gandalf.
But is it? Would they have been that iconic if Sean Connery did them?
No.
I don't know, man. A lot of people, when you tell them James Bond, the first Bond they think of is Sean Connery's.
No, me too. That's one. He's not ready to do Gandalf. You don't go from James Bond to Gandalf. That's crazy. And yeah, part of it, like, I'm biased, obviously. I can't see anybody but McClellan and Ian McClellan in that. Like, you can't. You can't picture another person.
No, you're absolutely right.
Hugo Weaving's the one who made out like a bandit.
Yeah.
He really is. He had all 3 Lord of the Rings, all 3 Matrixes. That's crazy.
That is true.
2 of probably the 2 best trilogies of all time.
1 for sure.
1.5.
4 movies for sure. Yeah. 4.5 movies, I think, for sure.
All right, simmer down. Just think I'm right.
All right.
Perfect.
So, all right, CJ, again, give us a really quick synopsis on the 3 movies of the Lord of the Rings.
Go fuck yourself if you haven't seen the movie. You son of a bitch.
You shit me?
Yeah. It's not a synopsis. That's actually a full movie.
Okay. So there's a ring. One ring to rule them all. 'Cause there's actually 30 rings. And so Bilbo, he's just chilling. Bilbo Baggins is the Hobbit. He has a ring. It's very, very powerful. He has no idea what he actually has. And then Gandalf finds out about it and actually discovers what the ring actually is. It's basically pretty, what do you call it? Sentient?
Yeah.
Because it kind of is. It is, right?
Yeah. It knows what it wants, yeah.
Exactly. And it's evil, beyond all evil. And its destiny is tied to the greatest villain in the history of Middle-earth. And it's just chilling in this guy's junk drawer. And they find out, and he basically tells Frodo, Bilbo's cousin or nephew, I don't remember. I think cousin, right? I'm not sure.
I thought it was his uncle.
Was his uncle? Maybe his nephew. Yeah, he might be his nephew. Anyway, they send Frodo on this harrowing journey with holding this ring that absolutely corrupts and warps your mind and turns you evil because of just in mere presence alone, because it is so evil. It's so evil, it turns you evil just by being in its presence, which is crazy. And they ask him they have to destroy this ring to destroy evil forever. And the only way to do it is to go take a long journey to Mordor and throw it into the volcano of Mount Doom. And they meet a ton of people on the way. There's a ton of horrifying dangers. But essentially, it boils down to four hobbits perilously trekking their way across Middle-earth to save all of the, elven kind and mankind, all the kinds. Dwarf kind, hobbit kind, whatever. And this is the story of that, basically.
Nice. So
hold on one sec.
Okay.
So I really wanted to look this up, and I'll make it super quick. So these are the roles that Sean Connery turned down. So I'm going to read them, and you tell me if he would have been good or bad. We already knew Gandalf. Morpheus and the Architect in The Matrix. You've got Thomas Crown and Thomas Crown Affair. You've got John Hammond in Jurassic Park. Simon Gruber in Die Hard with a Vengeance. Dumbledore in Harry Potter. Rick Deckard in Blade Runner.
Really? Fuck.
The player in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. I have no idea what that is.
Let me see.
Sentinel Prime in Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Cybok in Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. Tarzan in Tarzan the Magnificent. The King of the Moon in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Sure. Nigel Powers in Austin Powers, Gold member. And that's it. I don't know. There's not one in there that I was like, no, Sean Connery would have done a better one. I think all of the people did better than Sean Connery could ever do in those.
Hell yeah.
So
all right, great derailment of a wonderful show, Dustin.
No. I appreciate that actually, Barker. You're the stat boy right now.
I'll be the stat boy.
So CJ, do you have any we kind of touched upon it a little bit, but do you have any like general memories of watching Lord of the Rings for the first time?
Okay,
Or
well, this is gonna be spoilery, so I mean,
That's
if
fine.
you haven't seen this movie, go fuck you, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, if you haven't seen these movies, you shouldn't be listening to a podcast called Nerd World Order, Barker.
Yeah.
Or be hosting one like a piece of shit.
Yeah, Andres.
You don't deserve to have a nerd card. Can I just say that unequivocally? Like, you don't deserve to be call yourself a nerd if you haven't seen these movies.
I have glasses.
It's a rite of passage. You have what?
He has glasses.
He does have glasses. Anyway, okay, so spoilers. If you haven't seen them, just go watch the fucking movies. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? These are great movies. So when Gandalf falls, oh my God, I could have cried. I think I might have actually. The first time, I remember watching Gandalf fall the first time, and oh my goodness. Those are
shall not pass. And I said it in the wrong cadence, but it's fine.
So fucking great.
Yeah.
It's so great. And then when everyone's sitting around crying, like I totally cried with them. I don't remember how old I was, but my goodness, it was rough. Because I mean, you don't know. You think, oh, you know. And I mean, of course, everyone knows he comes back, but you don't know that. I didn't know that. I hadn't read the books. I just thought like one of the coolest fucking dudes in the history of movies just died horribly.
You know what? You know what caught my attention? This viewing of the Lord of the Rings that I've never really even thought about before. I guess the last time Frodo saw Gandalf was when he fell off the fucking bridge, and then he didn't see him again until he woke up. Really, like make sense of it at the very end of the fucking movie. You understand that? That's nuts.
Frodo thought Gandalf was dead that entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel that makes me sad actually for Frodo. Like that's crazy.
That is super crazy.
He thought his friend was dead the whole time.
Yep.
Until the very end when he swoops down magically. Oh my goodness. How good of a feeling. He probably thought he was dead at that point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
He's like, there's Gandalf, I'm dead. Of course. Like that makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe that's why he had a big smile on his face, because he's like, oh, I'm finally going to rest or whatever. And
finally, Jesus Christ died 19 times throughout these goddamn movies. How many times has Frodo died? Like,
let's see.
Chill at a time.
He was stung in the belly by a spider.
Yeah. He got stabbed, dude.
He got stabbed in the shoulder by a living ghost or whatever you want to call them.
He got stabbed in the stomach by that cave troll.
Yep. That's 3.
Yeah,
he was
probably more.
Yeah, he was technically almost killed by the spider twice because he was wrapped up in the web.
In the webs, yeah.
Gollum almost killed him.
Fucking A. Dude, that he didn't die so many times is crazy. They almost die of starvation.
Yeah.
Like dehydration on the way up.
And not only that, like the entire time the ring is basically trying to kill him too, so it's it's
the poor dude, man.
Yeah.
God.
So after rewatch, when's the last time you've seen these?
I watch the Two Towers actually every now and then.
Okay, well actually let me start there actually before I ask you this question. Which one is your favorite?
Actually, probably The Fellowship.
That is me too.
Probably is The Fellowship.
Even though it's popular here, that's probably an unpopular opinion in the Lord of the Rings sphere at large. I would say most people probably prefer The Return of the King. But to me, the reason I like The Fellowship of the Ring, not so much more, but more than the other two, is it just feels so much bigger. Like there's a huge fucking world. I've been banging on forever about practical effects. I feel like this movie, almost everything is a practical effect. Like it feels real to me. You know what I mean? It just looks so grandiose. And the introduction of all the characters and just the introduction to the world in general. Yeah, I just
Peter
I
Jackson
I
is a
fell I
fucking-
fell in love with that first movie 20 some odd years ago, and yeah, I still have a very very strong connection to that movie.
and it still looks good.
Really
It
good.
still looks good right now.
Yeah. Well, and that's my next question. I was going to ask you: does it hold up as a trilogy?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely holds up. 100,000%. Absolutely.
There's some wonky CGI here and there, but the only reason we see
Oh
it
well.
we see it now is because we've seen movies like Infinity War where it's just like they basically look like other people.
Yeah.
The one that always
Gollum's a little weird a couple times.
yeah. The one that really sticks to me though is at the beginning of the third movie when they're telling the story of Gollum and what is it, Slalom?
Oh, he's shitting me.
Oh no, it's
Beagle.
Smeagol and
Oh, the other guy?
yeah.
You talking about the other weird, the fishing guy?
Yeah, but it rhymes with Smeagol though. It's like Smeagol and Legal.
It's like,
It
I
doesn't
think it was Beagle, wasn't
something
it?
like that. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I
But
know what you're talking
when
about.
but when he's fishing and the fish pulls him into the water and he's being pulled by
Oh,
the
yeah.
fish, you could totally tell it looks like he's
Yeah.
sitting on a box and he's just like
Yeah, that
kicking his
looks a little
feet.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
besides that though, the orcs look great. I love that the orcs are the close-up orcs, anyways, are real people. Like that's real makeup. That's a real costume. Yeah, it definitely holds up. I think
Yeah,
this
because
movie,
all that
go for
all
it.
that stuff is practical. They spent a giant amount of money on those elf ears.
Yeah,
They had to like attach them to everyone who's an elf, obviously, and they spent a ginormous amount of money on hobbit feet. You don't see a scene with hobbits in it without hobbit feet. They have them for every single scene they're in. Those
Well,
like the hairy whatever.
yeah. No, well, since we're there, I'll talk about it now. Just the decisions that Peter Jackson made as a director to make the hobbits look like hobbits, even though they're just as tall as Orlando Bloom or Viggo Mortensen,
Yeah.
where they were using either kids or smaller people, whatever the case might be. But really, besides maybe one or two times, it doesn't feel out of place. Like they do it in a way where it looks really, really good.
Yeah, it looks incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson deserves to be, even just on the strength of these three movies, he's in the conversation for all time.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. And not only that, but like it'd be different if there wasn't a book, Lord of the Rings, and they're like, hey, we're gonna come up with this fantasy idea, whatever. But add the idea of like the pressure of this
Getting it
beloved,
right.
of this beloved book series that we know, in 2000, maybe you don't know how vigorously these fans will gatekeep something. Now it's a daily thing on Twitter, but like back then, you don't know these people that are talking on these chat rooms on the internet, but you still feel that pressure. And not only did he knock it out of the park, I don't know,
He went
grand
above and
slam.
beyond.
Yeah, for sure.
Every single one of those pieces of armor that the orcs have like an entire backstory. Like they're all unique. Did you know that? Every single piece of armor has its own backstory and history, and I mean they're all written by the people who have them, right?
Yeah.
But they all have distinctive. Every single piece has a distinctive marking somehow. Every single piece is unique.
I didn't know that.
That's insane.
That
That's
is
an insane level of detail
wow.
that he
is
honestly
crazy.
didn't even have to do. He just
No.
wanted to, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see. What do you think of the cast? We talked about it a little bit with Ian McKellen and Gandalf, but I think honestly in retrospect, and we're armed with hindsight 20 years later, but I honestly can't think of anybody else playing these roles. I mean, Elijah Wood is so ingrained with Frodo, Ian McKellen with Gandalf, Viggo Mortensen, Orlando Bloom. They're all so entrenched in this world, in this universe, that I honestly, I don't know, man.
I don't think there's not a single miscast.
I don't think so either. Hugo Weaving, Liv Tyler's in
Tyler.
this. Who else? Even
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, even in like smaller roles like that. Like I can't think of anybody else, man. I honestly can't.
Carl Urban was awesome.
Carl Urban is in this movie. I freak out every time I see these movies because I always forget Carl Urban's in these movies.
Yeah, dude. It's awesome. No, it's perfect. Perfect. The casting is absolutely perfect. I always think of Orlando Bloom because I just have a certain connection to Legolas that I can't explain. I love that guy.
He's a good character.
Huh?
He's a good character.
Fucking A. And it's not even. I like all those three dudes, right? Like Gimli and Aragorn. Legolas is always just such a badass to me. I don't know why. But.
I absolutely love the dynamic between him and Gimli because at the beginning of the movie, it's like, an elf, a dwarf, and they're whatever. But at the end, it's like they're so, they're brothers. They're best
Pretty
friends. Because he says at the end, he's like, I never thought I died, next to an elf. Well, what if you died next to a friend? And he's like, I can do that. So I love that. I also love the fact that Gimli, he's super proud of himself and like he has an ego, but he always has to ride bitch on the horse because he can't ride a you know what I mean? And he will put his ego aside for the better of the betterment of the group. For example, in the Two Towers when he's like, I can't make the jump, you're gonna have to throw me over. Yeah. There's a lot of hidden moments of humor in this movie, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. I think that is a cool subplot. Those three, their friendship all together. Like they're ride or die. Like by the end of it, they all three go into the mountain pass or whatever. Dude, they're ride or die by the end of that. Like that's so cool.
Well, even Gimli says it when Aragorn was like, I got to do this alone. And he's like, no, like, we're going with you. Like, it's not a matter of like, if we're going, it's like, where are we going? So.
Yeah. There's a lot of that actually in this movie, which is so cool. Like everyone has someone. Frodo has Sam, obviously.
Yeah.
Mary has Pippin. They all have someone, which is fucking cool. Except for Gandalf. He kind of has everyone, which is.
But I think of Gandalf as the quarterback.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Is really.
Yeah.
He's got the whole team. Yeah. He
hands it off to Frodo, who he's the running back, and his fullback is Sam, who's leading the way. I think you got to think of it as a football team, the Fellowship. So.
Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas would actually be like linemen, really.
Yeah, they're kind of blocking the way. Yeah.
Even though they move like receivers. Yeah, that's bad. Do you know Viggo Mortensen broke his foot whenever he kicked that helmet? Whenever I don't know why I'm just adding this randomly, but you remember when they find the orcs after they're chasing Merry and Pippin?
Oh yeah. Oh, and he kicks the helmet. Yeah,
he broke the shit out of his foot when he did that. That's a real scream of pain when he yells.
Really?
Yeah, that's real pain.
Also he didn't use one single stuntman in the entire 3 movies.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I believe it. That's crazy. That guy's kind of a badass, dude.
Yeah, no, for sure. Viggo Mortensen kicks a lot of ass.
Yeah, he does. And he'll always have that like trump card like somebody will say, "Oh, what about Viggo Mortensen? He was Aragorn."
Yeah, exactly.
He'll always have that. Like that's cool. Like there aren't it's kind of like Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was Wolverine. Like he's in that class of like, yeah, he was fucking Aragorn. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no matter what he does. I would say the same thing for Orlando Bloom, but he also has a role in Pirates of the Caribbean. But I guess it goes to show that it stands the test of time, his character in Lord of the Rings, because I couldn't tell you his name in the Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah,
I'm with you. Yeah, Legolas and Gimli, all those.
Yeah.
Right off the tip of your tongue, Yeah, this movie, I bet you could watch this 20 years from now and it could still be, it'll still be at the forefront. It's still at the forefront. It really is like, it's ingrained. It's so ingrained in the culture.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Nerdiness.
And the reason I compared it to like Ben-Hur. Have you ever seen Ben-Hur, the old 1930s movie?
I have not. Is that the one where they chariot race and shit like that?
But it's that's exactly the movie. So obviously, that movie doesn't compare to a movie now because of the technology we have now, whatever. But if you watch that movie, it doesn't feel out of place from then filming it in the Roman era because of all the practical effects. So yes, it's an old movie and it looks like an old movie, but because of the practical effects, like it looks so good still, even though it was filmed in 1930, 1940, whatever. I think the same can be said and will be said about the Lord of the Rings in 40, 50 years, where everything will be 3D. Everybody's going to be sitting in their movie theater, grabbing whatever. The Lord of the Rings will still stand out because of just how well and just how good it looks. And the craft that they took their time in building the entire world, inch by inch, mile by mile. Yeah. And it's just going to stand the test of time.
It absolutely will. It does still, and it will continue to, I think, for who knows how long into the future, probably forever.
Let's see what else I have here. What do you think of let me start here. What's your favorite action set piece in the movie? Like, what's your favorite battle or fight? Like, what's your favorite thing in the movie?
Probably Battle of the Two Towers. The final battle, the battle for Helm's Deep.
Yeah, in my notes, I put on here that the Battle of Helm's Deep is what the Battle of Winterfell was aiming for, but fell super short of, I think. Because
I think the Helm's Deep battle is like the go-to battle of like battles, right?
Oh, for sure. That was when all the articles came out when they first announced that that Battle of Winterfell was going to be an entire hour long, and it's the longest, action set piece ever filmed, and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, all the articles that I read were, it's going to compare to the Battle of Helm's Deep, this and that, this and that, this and that. So, like that. And I still think that this is the
gold standard.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a beef of mine, but it does lead to the final battle in front of the Black Gate to be a little underwhelming.
Yeah, it is.
Not that it's necessarily a problem, really, but it's like the bar was so high, they were never going to reach it.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, just the number of people, like, they went into the fight thinking that they were going to die because they were so outnumbered. I get that. But just the fact, you had one army come in right after another one, and then you had the Ghost Army come in. And it was just a super, super epic battle. But I think they did that, and I wrote that here in my notes. I'm super glad that they ended the movie on the ring, because the entire journey was about the ring. So I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad that it wasn't like they threw the ring in and then they fought. No, like, they fought and then the ring was put in. So I'm glad that the concentration of the ending of the movie, the climax, was the ring. Was the ring, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So speaking of the ring, Andy Serkis as Gollum and Smeagol was, I mean, now all you ever think of Andy Serkis is the CGI guy, right? The motion capture guy, and this is where it started. I mean, how good was he as Gollum?
Excellent. Didn't he win several Academy Awards? Like, he was a recipient of some of those, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, anytime it's like animation or whatever, like that's him,
But I mean, even for Gollum, wasn't he? He won some Oscars for Gollum, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know if he did or not.
I'm sure he did. Yeah, he had to have. He did. I think I know that. I'm sure he did. Dustin, check on that.
What am I looking up?
Oh, gee, he's not even listening. And see if Andy Serkis won. See what Oscars Andy Serkis has won.
Gotcha.
Then get back to us. But yeah, Gollum was fucking great in this. Like, the character design's awesome. I actually love how they kind of like in the beginning of the third movie, like, they shows kind of his evolution which I think is pretty badass. The book actually describes it. I've actually read that part because it's in the
Hobbit.
It's in the Hobbit, yeah. And maybe I just have an extra layer of appreciation because of that. But I love the character of Gollum. It's like, and it's kind of cool. He toes the line between villain and
somebody feels sorry for
like,
him.
Yeah,
for sure, yeah.
And you don't really, he keeps you guessing on like how you're supposed to feel about him, which is pretty cool. That's good character development. So yeah, I love it, honestly.
I didn't watch the other two videos, but I wonder if that's how he meets his end in the books as well. If he ends up in the volcano with the ring.
That was such like poetic.
It is.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It probably goes like that in the book, but
because it's perfect because all of the quote unquote good guys, they have their character arc, but then
Gollum is so tied to the ring.
Exactly, yeah. Like where the ring goes, he goes. So it only makes sense that he ended up in the fire with the ring.
It warped his mind for 500 years. Like,
yeah,
of course it's gonna. It's been with Frodo for like 6 months, and look what it did to him.
Yeah.
Imagine 500 years. Yeah. Of course, yeah. That tracks. It's at the forward mind all the time. Huh?
The only high-end award he has got for that is the Screen Actor Guild Award, twice.
Well, that's robbed. Maybe there probably weren't awards then for that, actually.
Well, Andy Serkis has opened up the conversation about what is acting really, because I know the conversation was open for Gollum, but for sure it was open when he was Caesar in the Planet of the Apes movies. It's like he was great in those movies. Like, what's stopping you from giving him an Oscar? He was playing, a talking ape, and he was doing a really good job at it. So yeah, he perfected a craft onto its own that really didn't exist before, and now he is the guy. And not only that, but like you can't pigeonhole him as just the motion capture guy, because how fantastic was he in Black Panther? Like, he was fucking fantastic in that movie. So he's a certified actor, and he just makes you get lost in his roles that you forget, like, yeah, that guy is computer animated. So yeah, he did a fantastic job in this.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better. Absolutely agree.
Who is your favorite character, not actor, character in this?
That's a hard question because I have like 5 favorite characters. Legolas is the one who like jumps to my mind. I love that dude. He's just down as fuck for like. He's so brave. He's such a badass, but I can't put him above Aragorn either. Aragorn's great. Like, I love that dude. He's like the Ned Stark of Lord of the Rings, right? He's like the honorable fucking awesome guy. I've always loved that guy. Gandalf, obviously. There's no right answer to that question. It's like a 5-way tie for first.
The two that stick out for me are Gandalf, obviously, for a lot of reasons. And then I think, so there's always the glue to like a team, or in this case, a movie.
You're going to say Sam, aren't you?
Absolutely. I'm going to say Sam, dude. I feel like he had no reason to protect Frodo as much as he did, other than that he promised that he was. You know how many people promise shit that never happens? And this dude is like, I promise.
Everyone?
Exactly. I promised that I would not let anything happen to you, and I'm sticking to my word. And this dude was betrayed.
Even when he kicked him out.
Exactly. He was betrayed. And he found the bread, and he's like, no, you know what? I'm going to have the last laugh. I'm going to have the last word, and I have to go find Mr. Frodo. And yeah, dude, he is the glue to this entire fucking thing, man.
I actually agree. Okay, the problem I have with Sam is that he spends 2.5 movies annoying me, But then at the very end, when he carries him, they're like, oh, I was like, God damn it, that's awesome. He's a really good friend.
Nah,
That's really badass.
he never really annoyed me because I saw it through the lens of like the only thing he is on this mission for is to protect Frodo. So whether
But it's just like, it's not like he annoys me. It's like his little like idiosyncrasy, like Mr. Frodo.
yeah,
that
Mr.
annoys
Frodo
me.
did annoy me a little bit, yeah.
Like it just, I don't know. It's like, that's his first name. Call him Mr. Baggins or Frodo. Pick one. Don't call him Mr. Frodo. That's annoying.
And I feel like you've been through this adventure. Frodo could be fine.
Yeah, you're boys by now. You spent how long together? And they were even friends before that. I think they were.
Yeah.
When they were walking to back in, they were walking together when Gandalf was there in the first place. That's how Sam ended up under his window or whatever. Like, how many do you call your friends Mr. CJ? No, that's weird. Yeah, it's weird.
It's a little weird.
And then he's just kind of fucking obnoxious.
You know who I found really obnoxious is Pippin. God damn. Half the
He
shit
is really fucking
half the shit wouldn't happen in this series if he would just keep his hands in his goddamn pocket.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Full of a toque. I love that. I love it when he says that.
You know, honestly,
Throw yourself in next time. One of us is too busy.
yeah. Honestly, like and this is leading up to my question, your favorite line in the movie, and I know a lot of people will say like you should not pass or whatever the case might be, but honestly, it's in my favorite line. It's from that scene, but it's when Gandalf is hanging off the ledge and he's like, "Fly, you fools!" and then he falls. Oh, dude, that is so inspiring to me. It's like, go.
Yeah,
like,
it is really badass, yeah.
That's my favorite line in the entire movie. So I don't know.
Mine is probably full of a toque. I don't know. I like that. It's cool. Whenever I love that. He's just standing there and that shit's just all that armor is like clanking for like 5 minutes. And he's just standing there like, oh my bad. I'm really sorry. Oh my, I love that fucking part. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Throw yourself in next time. I love that. That's so funny. He's kind of a douche though. Like, but he's also charming.
Gandalf?
No.
Pippin? Yeah.
That's why he gets away with it, because he's charming and like people love him. That's why he gets away with all this bullshit, like starting wars, basically.
Yeah.
Not that whole battle doesn't happen if Pippin's not a complete dumbass.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's crazy. And if Frodo would have died because of Pippin, which he almost did, basically, yeah, that would have been a whole thing. Gandalf basically did die because of him.
Yeah,
really,
he really did. Yeah, if you think about it.
It's pretty crazy.
Oh, this is maybe putting you on the spot. This is obviously a masterpiece, a masterwork. We don't have very many, too many complaints. But you switch bodies with Peter Jackson and the producers and the director and the writers back in '99 when they started this. What is one thing you would change?
I can tell you actually exactly what I would change. I would give, I don't know his name. It's Boromir and Farmir's dad.
Oh yeah,
the steward of Gondor. I would give him a little more story, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Is this like at the end? What's he doing? What the fuck is he doing?
I think he's just crazy, man.
Yeah, but tell me, they don't really tell you that he's crazy. Like, they give you more that he just hates his son.
Yeah,
more than that he's just crazy.
And honestly,
and then when he's like pouring oil on himself, that doesn't really track. It's weird.
What I got most of that is like, I don't think he cared whether Faramir was alive or dead. He was gonna burn him anyways, because he kept telling him like, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive. So I just don't think he cared, which is a little shocking almost.
Why was he burning himself?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because he was lamenting the entire time. It's like, oh, my lineage is done. Like, who's going to carry my name? So I think that had to do with that. I
just would have liked a little bit more explanation, I think, because it's pretty abrupt. Like, And you don't really get much time with him. And not, I kind of, you hate him, right? So you don't necessarily want more time with him. But just a little more in the way of exposition there, I think.
And maybe it's in the books.
It probably is, yeah.
Well, and then one thing that I did get from those videos, or that one video I saw, was the main narrative difference between the book and the movies. It's in the book, or in the books, it's more about the journey, right? Where it is in the movies, but in the movies they're telling you that the ring is a pressing manner where all sorts of danger is revolving around everybody around it, where in the book it's really more of a from point A to point B kind of story.
Yeah.
So
I've actually read somewhere, or somebody told me this, that part where they're going over the mountain and it's like Saruman brings that
the crows, yeah.
Well, not only that, but he brings that like avalanche down on them and everything.
And they had to retreat and go under the pass, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that part of the movie is like 4 minutes long, if that, 3 or 4 minutes maybe. Apparently, in the book, that part by itself is like 9 chapters.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're obviously we're missing a bunch of it.
Yeah. Well, I heard in the book actually that in the movie they make it seem like Gandalf is like in a hurry to try to figure out the ring, right? Like he's like, oh shit, like I think there's something wrong with the ring. He does and does some research, and then he's like back like in a couple days, and then he's talking.
Like it's urgent.
Yeah. Well, I guess in the book, it's like 17 years between Bilbo's birthday and when Frodo takes off on his adventure. Where in the movie, it's like a couple days maybe max, So yeah, it's definitely.
I think it's like a month, probably.
Yeah, but the movie is definitely edited and shot in a way to make it seem like it's all kind of rapidly happening. Where
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Where in the book, I guess it's like years, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think obviously I haven't read the books, but just based on how the movie is, I think I prefer the movie in that situation because it is giving you that sense of urgency and that you otherwise wouldn't have. When the Nazgul are coming for them in the first movie, you are like your heartbeat's quickened by then. Like it's shit, shit's popping off, and you're excited by then. And I think Gandalf's urgency adds to that a little bit. I think it puts you in that.
I agree. Alrighty, so we're running longer than I wanted to, but hey, it's Lord of the Rings. So just do you have some parting thoughts on the Lord of the Ring franchise and what it kind of means to you?
It's probably
after The Matrix.
No, I think it's probably the best trilogy of all time. It has to be. I struggled with this whenever I talk about the Matrix, because I do absolutely love the Matrix, but this is number one, like in terms of scope, breadth, epicness, storytelling. This hits all checks all the boxes, and even some you weren't expecting to check. Like this tugs at you emotionally.
Oh yeah.
In a bunch of ways. When you think Aragorn died, like everyone's hella sad. I was hella sad. There's a lot. This is the best trilogy of all time.
Well, not only that, but Lord of the Rings had 3 good movies, and The Matrix had like 1.5. So
okay, relax. Just keep it moving.
Yeah, same, man. I remember falling in love with this particular movie when I was a kid, and I watched The Fellowship of the Ring for the first time, and it's been years since I've seen it, which is a shame. And yeah,
every time you watch it, you're reminded of just how fucking good it is.
Yeah, really. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise, kind of, where I spend, I take so much time in between watching these movies again because I'm enthralled in this world again, every 5 or 6 years when I watch them, and 10 years, I think, actually, since I watched it
It never gets
last.
old.
Never does get old, which is why I'm excited for what's to come in the future, and that's they're gonna do a prequel series for Amazon. Obviously, I've never seen the Hobbit movies, but I think that's for a reason.
Read the book. Yeah, the book's better.
Well, they're trying to make
I have
3 movies out of 1 book, right? So that's
Yeah, I have seen them. They're not. I don't like them. That's just me personally. Maybe you would like them, but I don't know.
I'm
Just
not
read
gonna
the
go to
book.
my way to see them. Maybe like if they're on Netflix, or if they put them on HBO Max, maybe I'll check them out then. But I'm not gonna go random or whatever.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos paid $250 million just for the rights to get that TV show going.
Damn.
Just for the rights.
No.
Just for the rights. They're saying
that's
after it's all done, this could be the first $1 billion show.
wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe it will be cool.
So yeah.
No, but you didn't even notice that money, by the way. But okay.
No, he didn't. So yeah, it's just obviously we love this movie. This is a staple in the New World Order. If you haven't seen it, please see it. You guys will like it for sure. One little piece before we leave. Do you know that Ian McKellen and Elijah Wood never once worked together on the same set for a single day?
What?
Yeah.
It's not possible. How's that possible? They had to have.
No, they never did, because all the scenes that they did, they were shot in a way to make Elijah Wood look smaller. So all they would do is set him up in a way where somebody or something to put him to scale, and they never worked together ever.
Even in the cart in the very beginning?
Yeah, even in the car at the very beginning.
That seems impossible.
Look it up.
No.
So it's either
Why are you ruining my childhood? Huh?
So it's either look it up or believe me.
No. I reject your reality and substitute my own. They are great friends to this day. Elijah Wood and Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen's not dead, right?
Nah.
Okay, good. Yeah, they're great friends to this day. I will hear nothing of it, nothing less. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, he said it on the Today Show.
That seems impossible.
It's not impossible. Rewatch those movies again and look at the framing of it. They're never in the same frame.
Yeah.
Pass.
He also never worked with Morgan Freeman.
No,
yeah.
It's not that I don't believe you. It's not that I don't believe you. I just choose not to.
I guess we are living in the age of fake news, so you're right, absolutely right, CJ. You can believe what you want to.
I will. Thank you.
All righty, we are getting the fuck out of here, and we're going to do this super quick. Question of the show is the Lord of the Rings.
Wait, no, do we not need an official rating?
Oh, it's the Kitty Titties. I mean, it's
Yeah, it was.
it's Platinum
All three,
Kitty's Titties. Yeah, it's Platinum Kitty's Titties.
Yeah.
Question of the show.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you finish.
I'll just say just for the sake of procedure.
For formalities.
Formality.
Question of the show, and I know we did an entire best trilogy show of all time, and it didn't come back as the winner, but it obviously is the best trilogy of all time. Is the Lord of the Rings the best trilogy of all time? And which is your favorite Lord of the Rings movies? Those are the questions of the show. Next week's show, still talking about it. We'll let you guys know. All right, real quick, Barker, start with you since you haven't talked in a while. What is your recommendation for the student athlete?
It just came out on demand, and I'm gonna try to watch it either tomorrow or the next day. The King of Staten Island. I didn't realize it has Bill Burr in it, and Bill Burr just is being Bill Burr. It looks fucking hilarious. Along with Pete Davidson and there's Steve Buscemi. Looks like a really funny movie, so I'm gonna recommend that. I'm gonna watch it. So,
CJ.
I finished an anime called Shiki, Shiki, and I loved it. It's awesome. I don't want to say too much, It's a horror anime, and it legitimately creeped me out in a couple different places, which is hard to fucking do. It's really good. It's on Hulu. I highly recommend it. Go watch that.
Nice. I am still very much in the mood for a fantasy world to read, so I am very much behind in The Last God, which is a comic book that DC released actually, and is very much in the vein of Lord of the Rings and kind of Game of Thrones and stuff. It's about an heir that doesn't know he's an heir. He's the next of kin. So yeah, all that stuff with a lot of murder and goblins and trolls and shit like that and giant spiders. So yeah, that's what I'm reading for the next couple days to kind of keep feeding my fantasy thirst. What's up?
Have you ever heard of The Wheel of Time?
No.
It's a book, or it's a series of 12 books by Robert Jordan, and it takes this, like, it'll scratch your fantasy itch. I've actually never read them. I've only read the first half of the first one, but that wasn't because it wasn't good. It was just, it was a long time ago, and that was when I was working fucking 16 hours every day, and I just didn't have time. But it is like basically modeled after Lord of the Rings and just expanded out. Like a lot of people I've talked to who have read that said it did the same type of things that Lord of the Rings did for them.
Okay, yeah, I'll check that out. What's it called? The Wheel of Time?
Wheel of Time. It's a book series. There's like 12, I think. 12 books.
That's a lot of commitment.
And they're all pretty long.
Yeah.
It's a commitment, but
Yeah.
if depending on how badly you need that itch scratched, that could be an option.
All right, I'm Googling it right now.
Or anybody listening to this who's never heard it,
Wheel of Time.
It's in the same kind of vein.
I gotcha.
It's supposed to be the most epic of that kind too. So
I gotcha. And the other thing is I'm going to check out the animated movie of Lord of the Rings. So that was released in the 70s. And actually the initial movie company that they pitched Lord of the Rings to wanted to make 2 movies out of it.
No.
Yeah, I know. That's
you
dumb.
mean like just split in 2 basically?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. No, I'm glad they did it how they did it.
Same. All right.
I would have made this is the only there aren't many movies that I can comfortably say that I wouldn't have done it better.
Yeah.
This
is one of them.
Yeah.
That's rare when TJ does that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. If you guys have any suggestions or comments, let us know on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. They can find us personally on Facebook or Twitter.
I'm at CJMFA.
At Barker375.
At Satan_Abel45. You can find the show on Spotify, Google Play, Libsyn, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere that you can find your podcast. Buy some merch. We would really appreciate it. There's a sale actually coming next week. I'll make an ad for it to remind you guys. But yeah, that'll be the perfect time to buy a shirt. We have an NWO playlist. Make sure to download that on Spotify. If you prefer this video or this podcast in video form, there's a YouTube audio track that you can listen to. Make sure to listen to the show notes, or look at the show notes that we put on the podcast. If you want to subscribe to our Patreon, I keep saying this, it's fixed. It's as good as it's ever going to get, but I am going to make a commercial for it to kind of expand on it. But yeah, please, if you listen to the podcast, any and all money helps the show, which we could really use right now with everybody still being quarantined over here. So make the show the best we can. If you want to do a one-time donation, because we get it, you don't want to do a monthly payment, one-time donation, nerdworldorder2@gmail.com would be very much appreciated as well. We call that the tip jar. Hey, we really appreciate the breakdown of Lord of the Rings. Here's $5 to put towards the show. Would really go a long way. Thanks everybody for listening, putting your input, your 2 cents, just anything really for the show. We really appreciate it. Anything else, guys?
Yeah.
No, you said it.
All right. Bye, guys. Obey. Obey, NWO.